Great, thank you. So in end-to-end encrypted messaging systems, these provide strong security guarantees for protecting the contents of messages that are being sent, but often just as sensitive as the message contents is information about who is talking with whom. So a connection between two users A and B here would be considered, we call this message metadata. And you could imagine if you were a whistleblower at some organization talking with a news agency, then the information alone that you were talking to the news agency might be some information that you want to protect. And there's this quote by the former director of the NSA who said, "We kill people based on metadata." So this is a very important thing to protect for some people. And so there exist techniques to achieve metadata hiding messaging, and well-known techniques such as mixnets and DCnets give us metadata hiding properties. But I want to ask the question, what exactly our threat model is. So if we're worried about surveillance from some big brother entity monitoring messages in transit, then we've essentially solved this problem because no messages or metadata can be read while the message is in transit. But if we're worried about abusive messages being sent on this platform, so for example, someone sending you messages and they're bullying you on this platform, then this threat model is a little bit different. If we have a malicious sender and we are not in the end-to-end encrypted messaging setting, then this problem is relatively straightforward because without end-to-end encryption, the platform can easily verify and moderate messages that are reported. But if our messages are end-to-end encrypted, this recourse no longer seems possible. And in fact, this is even worse for metadata hiding because the platform doesn't know who is talking with whom or the contents of the message. So there exists a technique called message franking that achieves abuse reporting for end-to-end encrypted messaging. And this is used in Facebook's secret conversations feature in Facebook Messenger. So we use the same end-to-end encrypted setting as before, but the platform in the middle, we give a moderator key. And when a user goes to send a message, they compute a encryption of the message, and they also compute a commitment to the message plaintext. Then they send this information to the server, and the server computes a message context, which is the metadata surrounding the message, the identities of the sender and recipient, and some timestamp. And it also computes a MAC tag on the relevant franking information. This is all sent to the receiver, and the receiver can verify that C1 and C2 are well-formed, and if so, it'll display the message to the end user. And this sort of C1, C2 package, this is called a compactly committing authenticated encryption scheme introduced by Paul Grubbs and others. So when a user goes to report a message that was sent to them, they send all the message plaintext and all of the relevant franking information to the server. And then if the report is valid, then the platform can take whatever moderation actions are necessary. And the takeaway from all of this is that just by adding a little bit of bookkeeping, we can enable abuse reporting on end-to-end encrypted messages. And importantly, no party is able to exploit this reporting mechanism as a new vector for abuse. So if we try to directly apply these techniques to metadata hiding messaging, then we can have the sender compute the same C1 and C2 as before and send this to the messaging platform. But now the platform is no longer able to compute any message context. So later, the platform can't be convinced that a specific user sent a reported message. And so our idea here is is there a way that we can use the structure of this messaging platform to our advantage in order to implement metadata hiding message franking? And in general, this is a tricky problem to solve efficiently, but we will take advantage of the structure of onion encryption in particular. So our contribution we call onion franking, and this provides abuse reporting with strong performance guarantees for metadata hiding messaging platforms based on onion encryption. And along the way, we'll show that we need to break previous franking abstractions to achieve stronger security. So let me talk a bit about onion encryption. So this is a technique that's used in mixed net systems as well as onion routing. So for example, the Tor network. And the idea here is that a message sender encrypts the message in layers, and this is sent through some chain of servers. Each server in the chain will remove one layer of the encryption and pass it along to the next server until we eventually get to the receiver, who decrypts to get the intended message. And this provides metadata hiding because the first server in the chain only sees the message sender, the last server only sees the message receiver, and intermediate servers see neither of these parties. So our idea here is because the first server in this chain is able to see who sent a particular message, we can designate the first server in the chain as the moderator. So they will perform certain moderation tasks. And if we try to just kind of naively apply end-to-end encrypted franking techniques here, then we can send along the C2 commitment as before, and the moderator can compute a tag in some context on the message and pass this along, which kind of is functionally correct, but we've completely broken metadata hiding because all parties along the chain are able to see who the message sender was. And so our idea here and our contribution is a method to mask this data while it's in transit. And we mask it in a certain way such that the receiver can still recover the franking data and verify that it hasn't been tampered with from servers along the way. And for more information on how this is actually implemented, I encourage you to refer to our paper or talk to me afterwards. So the idea here is that just by passing a little bit of extra data through the mixnet and carefully masking and unmasking along the way, we can enable abuse reporting without breaking any of the metadata hiding properties of the system. So let me talk about the results that we have here. So here we have two different prior works that achieve metadata hiding message franking. And we can see that compared to standard end-to-end encrypted franking, these incur 1 to 2 orders of magnitude of overhead in order to get the same properties for metadata hiding systems. And our system, taking advantage of onion franking, achieves significant performance improvements over the prior work. And in fact, we achieve performance on par with end-to-end encrypted message franking across these sort of various message franking overheads that are incurred, while still allowing for metadata hiding. The last thing I want to talk about is the stronger accountability notions that we discuss in our paper. So the scheme as described so far achieves accountability, which is a security property stating that a malicious sender can't send a message where the receiver accepts the message and displays it to the user, but the moderator rejects the report that the receiver computes. And so the question we wanted to ask here is, what if the moderator colludes with a certain user to render all of their messages unreportable? So you could imagine a colluding user sending whatever franking information to the moderator, and the moderator, instead of behaving honestly when it sees messages from user A, instead just forwards garbage through the system. So the receiver can go to send a report on this message, and even if the moderator is behaving honestly at moderation time, the message is not reportable. And what we found is we can actually enforce honest moderation at message sending time, verifiable by the message receiver. And we introduce a couple of techniques to do this. One is to enforce honest moderator behavior with zero knowledge proofs, and we discuss how to do this efficiently. And a more performant scheme achieves probabilistic guarantees by sending trap messages along with each message sent through the system that are meant to be reported. And so by reporting these messages, and the receiver can verify that the moderators process these messages honestly. And interestingly, these techniques are actually applicable to message franking in general, not just onion franking. So these can achieve stronger accountability for the prior work mentioned. And so in conclusion, our scheme onion franking provides abuse reporting with strong performance for metadata hiding messaging platforms based on onion encryption. And we also achieve stronger accountability notions than the prior work, and we achieve them for message franking in general. And thank you, and I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you. Let's have the speaker. We have plenty of time for questions. Please, walk up.
Thanks for the talk. Very interesting topic. So I have a quick question. So just trying to better understand your system. So because you're talking about the content moderation, you have the moderator. I'm wondering, so like will the moderator decrypt the message, or this is done in the encrypted domain against some like predefined policy or rules?
Yeah, great question. So the security guarantees of message franking state that for messages that are not reported, we get the exact same security properties as the normal metadata hiding end-to-end encrypted messaging system. For messages that are reported, the moderator, like we lose confidentiality on those messages, obviously, but the messages remain encrypted and confidential. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And for more information about that, I would refer to the message franking paper by Paul Grubbs, the compactly committing authenticated encryption.
Yes, thank you. I just have one question about those the onion franking. Like you introduced some new data to masking them. I'm just curious about that. The data, are they fixed or like dynamic generated, and who's going to make those data?
Yeah, let me. So you're talking about like this additional franking information. I can kind of go into a little more detail about our scheme and tell me if that answers your question. So essentially what this is like in normal message franking, we pass along this extra information that was the C2 before, which is a commitment to the message plaintext. Here we do something similar, but we notice that because we have like an onion encryption scheme, we can actually require that each server, each hop along the chain, the next server will apply some new mask, and the mask is calculated in a way that's dependent on randomness chosen by A. And then this randomness is also sent to B, so B can undo all of the masking that was done along the way. So the extra data is roughly the same kind of data as used in normal end-to-end encrypted message franking. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Somehow answered my question, but maybe some still opening question that we can discuss offline.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Any more questions? We have a few more minutes. Can I ask, maybe you mentioned Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp in the beginning. They use another version of this. So is this directly applicable to those platforms, or do they have to change something in their infrastructure or design?
Yeah, good question. So I think Facebook and Meta are sort of famously not interested in protecting people's metadata. So I don't think they would be particularly interested in...
Let's assume.
Yeah. On top of that, their messaging platforms do not rely on onion encryption. And yeah, in fact, they're not metadata hiding. So this wouldn't be applicable to those.
All right, let's thank the speaker again.